Narrated by Lauren Ezzo. A Modern Witch's Primer. Chapter 1. Havens in Historical Context. Near the beginning of this century, with occultism on the rise around the world, a whistleblower from within the pagan community exposed a secret that had long been protected by witches everywhere. The secret was that in addition to learned witches, ordinary individuals who studied pagan practices and who could, with practice, learn to channel a small amount of power for their rituals, there were also so-called natural witches, people who possessed a tremendous amount of inborn power and who required little or no formal training to wield it. In response to the public outcry over this unregulated threat to public safety, the United States government instituted a national witch registry and required all natural witches, under pain of imprisonment, to submit their name, city of residence, and place of employment to a publicly searchable database. There was a good faith movement within the natural witch community to comply with this registry. Over the next few years, in what would eventually become known as the Second Inquisition, the witches who volunteered their identities were systematically ostracized from their social circles, became unable to retain jobs, and in some cases were hunted down and abducted by private citizen safety brigades. The runaway bestseller The Inquisitor's Handbook provided these groups with instructions, mostly badly translated from a 16th century copy of Malleus Maleficarum, aka the Witch's Hammer, as to the proper method of torture and execution of witches. Law enforcement was slow to recognize these atrocities as hate crimes, and generally lackadaisical in its prosecution of the perpetrators. The government's solution was to seize small parcels of mostly undesirable land around the country in order to establish witch-only communities, known as havens. This, it was argued, would remove the threat to public safety and the temptation for hate crimes, while allowing both learned and natural witches to live among their own kind, keep their traditions alive, and practice magic in safety. The greatest of these havens was a private township created by the late billionaire insurance magnate Reginald Harris, one of the richest and most influential men in the United States, and, until his final years, an unregistered natural witch. Unlike small, poor, mostly rural communities that established themselves in most of the government-funded havens, Harris's town, deep in America's heartland, was intended to be a pagan utopia, a model of green building, spiritual enlightenment, and, above all, magical living. It was called Witchtown. Chapter 1. Witchtown looked more like a prison than a town. For one thing, it was surrounded on all sides by a 3-story wall. The massive structure was overgrown with ivy and moss, but when we got within a few hundred yards, I could see plenty of places where ugly, man-made concrete was peeking through the greenery. The walls were sloped at a steep angle, probably to prevent people from climbing them. That thought brought on unwelcome images of invaders scaling the slippery, mossy surface, armed and planning to inflict untold horror on the people. The witches, inside. I chased the thought away. Those times are over, I reminded myself. For the most part. She pulled over right beside the sign. Burn in Hell was spray-painted diagonally right across its face in red. Below that, the phrases Satan's Spawn and Exodus 22:18 were carved into its surface. The usual anti-witch slurs, not particularly original. But once I managed to squint my way through all of that, the original lettering on the sign erased any remaining doubt I might have had about our destination. Witchtown. Population 402. Blessed be. I straightened up a little and looked across the front seat at my mother. "You're kidding, right?" I asked. My mother sipped her coffee and didn't respond right away. After days of near-total silence in the car, my words felt uncomfortably loud, even to my own ears. I wasn't sure how long our stalemate had lasted. It's hard to define days based on rest stop bathrooms and drive-through meals.